They're Christians and beautiful, but I don't think there is lately stating that it would never be in the headlines of the article. Their second right, Mascarini, because this is probably the first attempt to represent the country as a whole, as a scientific point of view. First of the two rules that the more commercial rules, large patents, they always have When the disease for the next 50 years of his life, the entrance part was this kind. The Constitution. The Pope has to provide funds and control. And the Pope will rectify the problem himself. Your dirty.
Engels voorgestelde precies dat is met
of starting from the very, very back of the boulevard, passing through. Obviously, these blocks the traffic of the whole route. That's why I've told you. Anyway, the need from the administration. They didn't always take the right decision, but anyway, they had to deal with an emergency. Whenever the Pope is announced, the whole road is lost. Private property. Better, I would say, it was the Pope's private. Because now the Pope lives somewhere else. But until last year, the Pope lived at the top floor of this. The top floor is the papal apartment. Now the Pope goes there on purpose to do what he has to do whenever he has to receive state guests or whenever he has to give the blessings on Sunday morning. This is an ancient tradition as well, which the Pope has to say. 12 o'clock every Sunday, the Pope comes out from the with the city upward and Greek, Apolonius Nestor got this piece, my father was waiting. So he goes to that, you're I know that tonight, with your tour leader, you will walk through the center of the city. The place where you will go is not that far from where we are, and it is all flat. Because after the fall of the Roman Empire, the people of Rome came and moved at the bottom of the hills in this flatland where we are now. This is what we consider the downtown area. This is one of the few boulevards where the buses can drive in this part of the center of the city. But all that part of the city which we consider the center, the things which you will see tonight, starting from Navona Square to the Pantheon, whatever, are all located in this flat land here. The reason is that this was the only part of the city which could easily reach water in the Middle Age and then in the Renaissance and so on. All these buildings you see around you here are buildings which have been built when in the 16th or in the 17th or in the 18th century on top of the ruins of more ancient buildings which were built on top of the ruins of the ancient Roman buildings. If we want to understand this city, you have to remember how this city has been recycled. This city was built on top of its own ruins by its own stones, using its own stones. So, 15 feet below, there lay the ruins of the ancient capital. If I were an archaeologist, I'm not, I've told you, I'm an art historian, but if I were an archaeologist, my dream would be to knock to the ground this building to the right, because we know how underneath this building, underneath this block, there are the ruins of the Hall of Pompeius, which is the place where Julius Caesar was murdered. So imagine what could it be for an archaeologist to find these ruins. But he would never be able to destroy, nobody will ever allow anybody to destroy the most beautiful theater of Rome, here on the right, the Theater Argentina, built in 1732. So the ruins, this building which you see on your right, the Theater Argentina, has been built on top of these ancient ruins that probably will always remain underground. But every now and then, some excavation has been made possible. For instance, in front of the Theater Argentina, there was a city block which also included a church. This city block was knocked down in the 1930s. This was a city block before the 1930s. In this case, obviously, the archaeologists knew exactly what they were looking for. But you can bet what you want that if you tear down to the ground one of these buildings, you'll find ancient ruins. Obviously, how do you dare to destroy, to make an example of one of the most beautiful churches in Italy? The Church of the Holy Name of Jesus, 1575. The Church of the Jesuits, the headquarters of the Jesuits, founded by St. Ignatius of Loyola, the man who founded the Jesuits and who lived and died in the monastery next to the church. How many schools, how many universities, how many colleges throughout the world are dedicated to St. Ignatius of Loyola? The Jesuits, who were such a powerful and rich religious order that they were feared also by the other branches of the Catholic Church. The Jesuits were always seen with a certain suspicious eye. Because of their huge power, they controlled the schools and they controlled the missions abroad. So they were very, very powerful. It is not a case that for centuries there has never been a pope chosen among cardinals coming from the Jesuits until last year, when Pope Francis, who entered the religious life in the Society of Jesus in the Jesuits, was the first Jesuit to be elected Pope. The Church of the Holy Name of Jesus, 1575 on your left, an unbelievable shrine of works of art. And all the way around here there are all palaces which more or less belong to the same time, between the end of the 16th and the end of the 17th century, more or less. Now we'll be driving straight in front of the sacred hill of the ancient Rome, which is called the Capitol Hill. No archaeologists, no historians have been able to give a satisfactory explanation of the reason of the name. Capitol Hill comes from the word caput, which means head, the heel of the head. There have been a lot of explanations, but none of them, absolutely sure. In any case, on the Capitol Hill, which is the second hill on which the ancient Rome started to be built, On the Capitol Hill, the ancient Romans built their major temples. So there was the Temple of Jupiter, the Temple of Juno, the Temple of Minerva, and so on. Now that our Domenico will drive around this city block, you will see in front of you, and then in a moment on your right, the 16th century ramp that leads up to the top of the Capitol Hill. There are 3 beautiful palaces on top of the Capitol Hill, 2 of which are now museums. And the central one, the Palace of the Tower, is the City Hall of Rome, the headquarters of the administration. In front of you, the Capitol Hill. That black cloud coming down suggests me to bring along an umbrella, and you do the same, because today the weather is very changeable. And later on, when we will be at the Colosseum and at the Forum, there won't be too many places where to hide away. There won't be too many shelters. The northern part of the Capitol Hill is totally occupied by this big monument, the National Monument, which has been built for the 50th anniversary of the Italian Unity in 1911. The Altar of the Fatherland, this is the official name of it, which has in the center the statue of the first king of Italy, the man who unified the country, Victor Emmanuel of Savoy. At the foot of the statue of the king, you see 2 soldiers of the Navy today guarding the tomb of the unknown soldier. Obviously, Italy is not any longer a monarchy until 1946, but this is still today the symbol of the Italian patriotic values. That's why whenever a president, prime minister, queen or king or whatever comes to Rome for an official visit, pays homage to the country, leaving a wreath of flowers, whatever, at the tomb of the unknown soldier, exactly what the US president has done 1 month ago, or other leaders have always done here. The square around which we are driving, so to give you the opportunity to take pictures around, takes the name from this brownish building which you see on the left-hand side, this sort of a fortress-like thing, which is called Venice Palace. Venice Palace belongs to the 15th century and was once the headquarters of the Republic of Venice. And so, Venice Palace, and this is Venice Square. Before World War II, the Palace of Venice was the headquarters of the government. That's why Mussolini used to address the Italians from that balcony, where you see those 2 people probably were the workers who prepare an exhibition which will be open in the next future there. On the left-hand side of the big national monument, which at the beginning was not liked by the Romans, who nicknamed it, who mocked it, as the wedding cake, but obviously more than 1 century after, this monument has become a symbol of the city. The boulevard, which begins on the left-hand side of the National Monument, is one of the most spectacular parts of the city. It was opened in the 1930s and connects the National Monument with the Colosseum. The first part of it can be driven, and so we will drive along this first part of it, then we'll make a left. The Imperial Forum Boulevard is triumphally opened by the magnificent column of the Emperor Trajan, which you see on the left-hand side. The Emperor Trajan, who conquered what today is called Romania and Bulgaria, had that column built to commemorate his victories in the year 112 AD. Look at that. It's perfectly preserved. Astonishingly preserved. The only thing which is missing is the statue of the Emperor, which was supposed to be on top, and which is now substituted by the statue of St. Peter. Apart from that, everything is preserved as it was. Not the same can be told about the things you see around you here. Now, this tour, this Cosmos tour of yours, will lead you through the heart of the archaeological treasures of the Mediterranean Sea, because you will go to Greece. I've told you before, at least the people were with me in the museums, how much the Roman culture owes to the Greeks, because all the elements of art, music, poetry, literature, theater, and so on, originates from Greek roots. Even Julius Caesar
here to the right, built a temple in Greek style, dedicated to Venus. The 3 columns which you see on your right belong to the temple of Julius Caesar, 46 BC. After he was murdered, his nephew and stepson, Augustus, erected on the left-hand side of the boulevard a temple dedicated to Mars, the god of war and of revenge. The temple was dedicated to Mars Ultor, Mars the revengeful, 26 BC on the left. And to the right you see the core, the heart of the Roman Forum. As a matter of fact, and to be very honest, not that much is left of the ancient days here in Rome. Obviously things which are very spectacular, the column of Trajan, the big hall of Massentium, which is now under renovation, which you see here to the right hand side. Obviously the Colosseum, which is at the end of the boulevard. But you will see from the terrace, where we will overlook the Forum from, that not that much of the Roman Forum is left. And the reason is that Rome not only has never been abandoned, and don't you forget, abandon is a positive concept in archaeology, because whenever a place is abandoned, you have more chances to find something. The difference is that Rome not only was never abandoned, but has always been recycled. So the city of Rome has been used throughout the center to be rebuilt, on top of its own ruins. Now, before we get to the Colosseum, 2 important information I have to give you. The tour of the Colosseum is divided in 2 parts. The Colosseum and Forum is divided in 2 parts. The first part is the Colosseum. The Colosseum doesn't present any particular problem, any particular walking problem. There are just few steps, and so everybody can do it without any problem. The second part of the tour, the Roman Forum, requires something longer walking distance, few steps, and an uneven pavement. So just in case someone doesn't feel like doing the second part of the tour, no problem, because the first thing we will show you is where the bus will come to pick us up at the very end of the tour. The place where the bus leaves us is the very place where the bus will come and pick us up. For what concerns the visit of the Colosseum, we take advantage. Then, as you will see at the end of the tour, your tour leader will give you forms to be filled, telling what is wrong, what is right, if there are suggestions. And one of the suggestions which we have more frequently read on the people commentaries is that they wanted, everybody almost wanted some time at leisure inside the Colosseum to go to the upper level. The fact is that I cannot oblige everybody to walk up to the upper level of the Colosseum because there are 50 steep steps. So what we will do is as follows. We enter all together in the Colosseum. I will get a group ticket which is valid for the whole group. So I will get the group ticket, we enter the Colosseum all together. I will tell you the story of the Colosseum. Then we will take a break. So the ones of you who feel like walking to the upper level and take pictures from the upper level can do that. The ones who do not feel like can linger around, can give a look around, take pictures in case you need to use the bathrooms. I've told you how the bathroom of the Colosseum are definitely not the cleanest of the world, but anyway, in case of emergency, everything works. Then we meet in a precise point and at a precise time, and it will be in a covered up place in case of rain. And then, all together, we walk out of the Colosseum, which was the same earthquake which also destroyed the medieval palace of the Pope. the Colosseum has been used only as a quarry of stones. Alright, now ladies and gentlemen, Spain and all the rest. So you have to imagine that all the way underground there was an entire world which went on undercover, so to say. Nobody could see this but the ones who worked in the preparation of these fights. I'm using the word fight, but I'm doing a mistake. The ancient Romans would call such
Palatino came from the word pala.